Should be live right now. Yeah, I'm just checking in. I actually was supposed to do this live yesterday, but just had some other stuff that popped up. So I was gonna be on here just to chop this up a little bit about this fight with Brian Norman Jr. and also some other things I wanted to talk about as well. But with Brian Norman Jr., right now his name is popping up all over the place. And it's popping up in all kind of fights. And the reason why I'm even pointing this out is they've been placed on him from different positions of different divisions. And it ain't too many guys around his age right now that's really being placed with that kind of responsibility. And this kind of confirms what I said last year about when I was putting pressure on Bam Rodriguez about making certain fights happen. Because if you see how people are talking to Brian Norman Jr. and how they done also with Haney in the past, they guys are or anything like that. So a lot of these guys, it's a must that they get in the ring these days. That's why all that building up stuff, man, fight who in your division now. Who's a champion? If you're trying to jump weight classes now, leave the weight class and drop the belt. But a lot of guys ain't really trying to fight Brian Norman Jr. I'm hearing that right now. Because if you're going to leave 147, or if anybody's thinking about coming to 147, he needs to be a name that needs to be talked about. It don't need to be just Devin Haney calling him out, which I'm not surprised. Maybe everybody else is surprised that Devin Haney called out Brian Norman Jr. I'm not surprised he called out Brian Norman Jr. or Jaron Ennis for a fight. I'm definitely not surprised. Definitely not surprised. People that say it's a clout chase or whatever, that's cool. But I still know Devin Haney's resume is better than most of the guys you think that would get in the ring with Brian Norman Jr. And that's a lot of things too about that situation. Because people want to hang their hat on, well, as far as with the Ennis situation and everything else. I hate the shout out to you, dog. What's going on this morning? Doing all right? Today is Tuesday. Yeah, we already into the week. Today is Tuesday. What's going on? Shout out to PD, man. But it's a lot of pump faking going on right now. I tried to watch a lot of podcasts yesterday when guys calling in, bro. I don't know. Maybe it's me, bro. I just can't listen to Cap all day. I don't know, bro. Maybe it's a spiritual thing, but I just can't listen to people lie all day. I just can't. I mean, I've never. The way I'm built, I can't even listen to a female lie all day. So for me to listen to a man all day, it ain't nothing I'm trying to get from any kind of man. So when they be sitting here lying about boxing, bro, it just takes my enthusiasm away. Because it's just Bam Rodriguez, right? So they expect Brian Norman Jr. right now to fight Jaron Ennis. Go down. If Haney comes up, fight him. The biggest fights possible. And Bam Rodriguez is the same age and slightly older. And I feel like right now, he equally has two fights around his weight class. That's exactly like what basically Bam is in the same position as like a Brian Norman Jr. He can fight a Haney type of fighter, or he can fight a Jaron Ennis type of fighter right now. The Jaron Ennis fighter would be what's your boy name? The Jaron Ennis type of fighter would be Nakatani. The Haney fighter would be Galal Yafa, who fights Saturday. Who just went out there and stopped Sonny Edwards like it was nothing. Dude didn't even have a scratch on him. I only think he was breathing hard at the end of the fight. So that's really the fight that need to be talked about right now. For real, for real. Especially if we're gonna talk about Bam being on pound for pound. I'm seeing everybody in the comment, man, Bam, the next Mexican star, uh, and everything. I'm like, bruh, he in the same position as Norman is. I don't know if everybody knows it or not. He in the same position. He got smoke around him that needs to be smoked out. All this Haney and Norman's focus everybody putting on, Bam Rodriguez is top 5 pound for pound. That's what everybody said. He has smoke around him that needs to be focused on. I don't want to be seeing people use these dudes for arguments or conversations, and it ain't no real conversation being had around said fighter. 24. I think he's 25 now. Needs to make it happen. Dude was on there like 23, 24. They put him on pound for pound, 23, 24. Devin Haney couldn't even get on pound for pound with an undisputed at 23. So he needs to be doing some work. I see where the focus is going, and that's sad. But I don't know if people know it or not, but he's in the same position. And could have a lot more and he can have a lot more accolades on his man. He beat Yafai and Nakatani right now. He'll be pound for pound 2 anyway. I know that. That'll pass anyway. Those 2 fights right there will let you pass anyway. Don't let me be in charge of a career like that. I would have, hey, you fight Yafai next, fight Nakatani. Yeah, let's make that work. But he fighting Kafu, so I like the Kafu fight. I'm not going saying anything bad about the Kafu fight. I think that's a good fight. But that's almost like fighting Rolly or somebody. With Kafu. Kafu don't got the experience of a Yafai or a Nakatani. He's not on that level. We talking about guys who's pound for pound or potentially pound for pound. So yeah, I'm hearing people yell out yesterday, man, Haney need to fight Norman. Bro, he got his name on the list. I mean, bro, yeah. Norman got to fight this weekend. But I just hear the belief in Norman. I'm like, oh, okay. Soon as Boots lead the division now, okay. All right. Okay. I see what's up. I see what's up. Now, as soon as Boots lead the division, now Brian Norman Jr., he the man now. I'm telling you, in boxing, they make me sounding like you number 2, or if you number 2 in boxing, they make it seem like it's so bad. If you feel like Norman was number 2 to Boots, they made him seem like he was a bum. But I'm gonna tell you right now, ain't no promotion needed for a fighter like this. All this dude did was what everybody said. Hey man, try to make a fight with the best. And I'm gonna tell y'all something else too. Brian Norman Jr. got more criticism for calling out Jaron Ennis than Teofimo did. And Brian Norman Jr. destroyed Centillion last year. Destroyed him. Knocked him out so bad that and did the same thing Rayo did, and fans lost their mind. Oh, now where if everybody's a super Mexican and Centillion fan, they need to be out here trying to get all these other guys to fight Centillion. If Centillion really that guy like that, they need to be having him out here fight like that. Because I think Centillion is still a tough fighter. He's not an easy fight for anybody. He never got done like that. Matter of fact, he couldn't do Rocha like that. And when he did beat Rocha, it was a bad stoppage. Rocha got stopped badly in that fight. So it's still some smoke at 47, but it ain't no guys running to the table to fight no Centillion. I heard Boca Chica say recently that Norman don't got that much power. He's more of a technical fighter. Ain't nobody running to go fight Centillion though. Because I'm pretty sure Centillion's an older guy. He's in his 30s. So he's trying to get back up the rankings fast. So whatever kind of name he can get, whatever kind of ranking spot, whatever he can do in any sanctioning body, I know he's more than up for it, especially at the age he's at. Oh, what's going on, Joseph Bailey? What's up with you? You said, did I watch Hitchens and Cambosis Jr.? Who was that? Who was AR? Who was that? Yeah, I watched that fight. Yeah, I went live for it over here. Yeah, shout out to Joseph Bailey. Jamal versus Roundtree. I don't know who that is. I probably had to see first names. I don't know who no Jamal versus Roundtree is. That's not a fight I'm checking for. But you said about the Kamara Usman versus Buckley. Yeah, I had Usman this weekend. I didn't finish watching the UFC fight after the Paul Craig and Bellotta fight. With that crap happening, I ain't watching. UFC done had some terrible cards the last 3 or 4 weeks. They got to get it together. They got to get it together, man. That Paul Craig and Bellotta fight was terrible. So I didn't watch the second half of it. But yeah, I'm not gonna be on here long. I'm just gonna be on here like an hour or whatever. I just came here to talk and stuff. But yeah, I'm just want to talk about some real things. What everybody else is talking about, bro, that's cool and everything. But trust me, I'm never gonna be like that. I might have a same topic or something with somebody else. Maybe that will happen. But the stuff I've been seeing and hearing, nah, they just, I don't know. This just day to day at this point. We just reacting to everything in boxing. The reactions in boxing is all over the place. The way people are reacting in boxing right now is crazy. I'm trying to figure out what people actually think about Brian Norman Jr. I have no idea what people think about him as a fighter. I've been hearing so much about contracts and what he won't do. I haven't even heard people really break down what kind of fighter they think he is, or is he good, or how good he is. It's kind of like people are just trying to like wiggle their way into the situation without actually giving a valid observation. You know what's going on, really? That people want to go with the popular opinion. And if Brian Norman Jr. actually turned, well, I think he's a beast. I know he's a beast before the belt, beast. Because if you go back and look at that fight with Randall, Randall's all over the place and he's sloppy and he's holding on and clinching with Norman. The fight sloppy, doesn't look good. Then you go see Norman fight. Then you go see Randall fight Boca Chica, and he ain't doing none of that. He ain't falling around. Punch power is there. He won that fight convincingly. I don't know if everybody's seen that fight, but if you go back and watch Randall, Norman fought him. Then he went and fought Boca Chica last year. And he destroyed Boca Chica in that fight. But Randall looked terrible against Norman. So I don't know what kind of power he has, but I know when dudes get in the ring with him, they start to act like they don't know what's going on. That's what's going on. It's a lot of guys acting like they don't know what's going on. Then the fights he took is not fights that guys take early in their career like that. That's just a fact. A lot of these guys are not taking fights early in their career like that. A lot of these guys are bringing up guys from 140 to 47, everything. A lot of that stuff going on. But as we've seen recently, Brian Norman Jr., his name is in the mix because he ain't got to be doing no tweeting. He don't be doing no calling everybody out every 5 minutes. None of this stuff. He is the prime example of why all these other guys is going to start looking bad. Matter of fact, I'll give you an example now. Keyshawn, with what he did the last couple of weeks, you're on the same platform as Brian Norman Jr. Brian Norman Jr. goes to Japan and get a knockout. That's gonna be 3 straight knockouts in title fights. So he's gonna have 3 straight knockouts in all title fights on the same platform as Keyshawn Davis. Now Keyshawn knocked out Lemos and Baranchi. Good wins on paper, but also is that you about to let Brian Norman Jr. pass you? I don't know if a lot of these guys know it or not, but Brian Norman Jr. is going to pass these guys. Not because he's trying to, because he's working. He's making weight. A lot of these guys can get passed up. Ryan, he's going to get passed up. T.O., he's going to get passed up. Matter of fact, T.O.'s supposed to fight Brian Norman last year. So T.O. done ducked the man already. People talking about him get Stanionis got the money and so Stanionis got the deal that Brian Norman asked Eddie Hearn to give him. He couldn't get, but they gave it to Stanionis. I did a live about it probably 6 hours before Jaron Ennis went out there and stopped Stanionis. Y'all can check it out. It's still on here. I did a live about it. The man went out there and got he made more money than Jaron Ennis' last fight. Do anybody know that? Nobody. I bet nobody knows that. Stanionis made more money than Jaron Ennis. And the man had did nothing in boxing that Brian Norman Jr. has done. He ain't got no highlight knockouts like that or nothing. Especially against no Centillion. And he made what? How? How does he deserve that? So the way people are coming up with certain things, as far as who deserves a fight and who don't, it's popular opinion at this point. And it's also going to have these guys not doubling back around to support the person. Because once they say, oh, this guy's Brian Norman's not. So once Brian Norman start passing other boxers, you're going to see people start to step away from certain boxers. I'm telling you that now. The man he's the youngest champion as far as males. And he's looking for the most smoke. His name is involved with the most names. You said George Kambosos Jr. needs to retire. Yeah, we talked about that Saturday. Yeah, we talked about that Saturday. I mean, he can retire. He made $10 million against Devin Haney, so you know he can retire. You only need one fight. I mean, my thing is with Kambosos, I feel the same way about guys like Ryan Garcia. See, everybody wants to say things about Kambosos needs to retire, but Kambosos is a 135 who went to 140 and got stopped. He wasn't a big 135. The real question is that I would be asking is why a lot of other fighters aren't really willing to jump in the ring like Kambosos does. That would be the real question. Now, asking the only guy that retired that beat Teofimo to retire, I mean, okay, sounds good. But the man just fought Lomachenko. He fought Hitchens. He fought Teofimo. I mean, unless we have other boxers who are gonna step in and do that. I mean, I don't care if he does retire or not, but I thought he would have retired probably like after the Maxie Hughes fight. But the guys who gonna be retiring soon, like I predicted recently, those ain't gonna be talked about, but it's gonna be a lot of guys who are gonna be retiring soon. And Brian Norman Jr. gonna be a real reason why. Huge reason why. People that think he was gonna be in this position 2 years ago, a year ago, when he was at top rank, when he first got the top rank, people didn't realize what they had. And now they know. For some reason, and I don't think it's on purpose, but I think for some reason people see Abdullah Mason getting these knockouts and stoppages, and they just like, man, he ready. And with Norman, it's like, yeah, but he called out Boots, so it's a problem. That's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to fight the best. Matter of fact, he put pressure on other fighters to get a fight done. Because I didn't see Santilli and them shuffling their feet when he was at PBC, when Boots was at PBC trying to get the fight done. So until Brian Norman Jr. actually opened his mouth, nobody was calling out Boots. So a lot of people should be thanking him. I don't know how you're a fan of Boots and you done seen Brian Norman Jr. indirectly put pressure on other fighters to get in the ring with Boots because he was the only one calling out Boots. And for somehow they look at that as a negative. But they love when guys call people out, though. Just don't understand that. And that's why I said when people were doing that with Boots and Terrence Crawford, I sat up here and said, y'all really gonna do this and be calling this guy out after he just beat Earl Spence? Y'all really gonna do this? Because when it happens to him, how you gonna feel? So the same thing that Boots was doing to Terrence Crawford, Brian Norman did, and everybody who was okay with when Boots was doing it to Terrence Crawford, they had a problem when Brian Norman was doing it. Point blank, period. It looks ugly. It's disgusting. It's terrible. I actually didn't even want to talk about the fight no more. At that point, when there was some Brian Norman negotiations, like October or whatever last year, I went on talking about Lamont Roach and Tank, man. I started thinking about that fight. I was like, I'm moving on. And Stanionis, he confirmed it. And to be honest with you, in the future, I would never talk about that situation. Because once Stanionis got paid and everybody looked past it, it ain't no other conversation to be having about no Boots or Brian Norman Jr. with anybody. That's a fact. We got guys out here doing the same thing the other fighter did. And then people like, yeah, man, he trash fighter, man. He ain't did nothing. Shoot, ain't nobody did nothing. If you comparing them to Terrence Crawford, ain't nobody did nothing. If y'all can compare a guy like Boots to Terrence Crawford and say he ready, what Brian Norman ready then? You ain't finna try to play me like that. Nah. It's a lot of East Coast bias going on. Ain't nobody gonna call it out, but there's a lot of East Coast bias going on. People acting like Bernard Hopkins is in his prime right now. So a lot of that stuff is going on. You got young guys who willing to step up. They the ones who getting trashed. Dudes who ain't even accepting fights. They jumping in the ring with all kind of fighters. Let me tell you something. And this is how you know boxing fans are just all over the place, bro. You telling me Teofimo would have been in negotiations with Brian Norman Jr. They tried to have Ryan Garcia fight him. He said drug test, so that didn't happen. Rolly had to step up. I mean, it got so bad to a point where Isaac Cruz had the Mexican guy lined up, and he had the Ryan Garcia fight lined up. That's how bad it was at a certain point. Y'all don't understand that. Pitbull had to have Ryan Garcia lined up in January, and he was supposed to fight Fierro in February. The Mexican guy who went crazy. I told everybody he don't need to fight Ryan Garcia before this fight. I mean, after this fight, because he's only going to have 2 months to get ready. That's not going to be good after having a tough fight like that. He went out there and had a tough fight. So that kind of proved my point on that end. But when you look at certain things, man, like if Kambosos would have went out there and lost to Rolly like that, I would have been like, yeah, he's trash. But the dude who lost to Rolly, he's trash. Really. No joke. No joke. The next time y'all see Rolly fight, y'all gonna be like, oh man, Ryan, really trash. Because y'all don't understand, Rolly is at 147. Rolly is not at 135. He's not at 140 fighting Barroso, who just got stopped recently. He's at 147. So Rolly can fight a Brian Norman Jr. next. Ain't that the guy who beat Ryan? Why would the guy who beat Ryan not fight a Brian Norman Jr.? Why would the guy who's from 140 that everybody said was done last year, why would he be the first option? Because you believe in him. You believe in him. Definitely believe in him. They have so much belief in these guys. Talent don't lie. You can not like somebody, but talent is not gonna lie. The talent will never lie. Shakur Stevenson proves that every time. People cry about how boring this fight is, but they're gonna show up every time and watch because they ain't never seen nothing like it. And that makes it even that makes it even worse because why is so many people that just can't give these people respect as far as what they do? Just acknowledge the greatness and keep it pushing. Man, it's a lot of guys back in the day that was like, man, I think Pacquiao on juice or something, man. But then it was like, he's still a beast though. But I think he on the juice. Ain't no hating in that. There's no hating about that. I mean, everybody got an opinion, right? Okay. He kept it factual. He's a beast. I would love to see him still fight Mayweather, but I think he on the juice. It was that simple. With no disrespect in between that. But these days, if you're a Brian Norman Jr., oh man, you calling out Boots. What you done? Who are you? They just seen this man knock out Centillion like this. And we'll ask him what he done. What these other guys done in boxing to deserve to have their name mentioned with a Boots in it. Especially Teofimo recently. Can't cut out the ring against Jermaine Ortiz. And he gonna go straight into a Boots Ennis fight. Then they said, well, Ryan could fight Boots. Then Haney said, nah, I'm the one who wants to fight him. That don't get no attention. But Teofimo, yeah, we believe. Ryan, yeah, we believe. Brian Norman Jr., nah. He the youngest champion in boxing, but he ain't did nothing. Even though he in the same position as a Bam Rodriguez, he ain't did nothing. Which is kind of crazy. And I'll never understand that, but this is a very good fighter, bro. They're gonna understand this very soon. This man is a throwback fighter. I'm telling you right now. This man's a throwback fighter. He don't do a lot of talking. He's not trying to hype nobody up, make it seem like everything he's saying is outrageous. I'm hearing a lot of people make up lies to kind of go against what he's saying. A lot of stuff that can be talked about that's very important is not being talked about. His name is just now being acknowledged after Jerron Ennis leaves. People like, oh, well, what about him and Haney? What about him and other guys that could have already happened? We could have been putting pressure on T.O. I thought T.O. not taking that fight last year was huge news. I don't know why everybody didn't know that. T.O. ducked this man in they were supposed to fight, what, September? October? And then people don't know it. Brian Norman was looking towards the T.O. fight. And he was like, yeah, if we can get Boots, we can do that too. The man won his first championship belt. And the next fight he discussed was Teofimo Lopez. Y'all don't remember when Bob Arum said, we're talking about Brian Norman versus Teofimo next? He said that in April of last year. He said that like 14 months ago. A man said last year, we're trying to make Brian Norman versus Teofimo Lopez last year. Then all this belief in people like, well, I think T.O. will fight Haney. I think he'll fight Boots. And this person is like, bro, he just fought Claggett. He just fought Jermaine Ortiz. He just fought Josh Taylor. Sandor Martin. That don't sound like none of those guys. Ain't none of those guys gonna go to 47 anytime soon. Everybody can't jump from 147. To 147 jumps to make in boxing. Mikey tried to do it, couldn't do it. Not long term. Not like Floyd could. We seen when Floyd did it, and Floyd made it look easy. But when Mikey Garcia did it, he struggled. Then he went back to 140 and lost to Sandor Martin. And kind of left boxing very early. He left boxing pretty early. And he's blown up now. Dude like 200 pounds walking around right now. So these new guys, they trying to give y'all the best fights, but it's the big name guys who's talking their way out of situations. And it's like, okay, time goes on. I done seen guys do it before. We got Kovalev. I just seen Kovalev 3 months ago, 2 months ago, before his last fight. The man had the last fight of his career. They're giving him an interview. You know what Kovalev was saying in the interview? Man, Andre Ward was running. This man got stopped by Andre Ward. And this man said Andre Ward is a runner. We got to quit celebrating these sore losers in boxing. Being real with y'all. It's getting kind of corny, to be honest with you. A lot of these dudes losing respect, too. You crying about a fight that you could have ran back 3 times. Then you're crying about the first fight. Because you know you got stopped in the second fight easy. Yeah, we can't celebrate these sore losers, though, man. It's getting out of hand right now. It really is. Everybody taking shots at how somebody's boxing, but they can't do anything close to what they're doing. I mean, I have no problem with fans having issues with certain boxers or how they calling guys out. Just find somebody better. Is anybody right now going to be doing anything at 47 that Brian Norman's doing? We have Mario Barrios there. He's there. When it comes to Mario Barrios, I don't know, from the outside looking in, it seems like fans think he's done enough. Even though he's way older than most of these guys already. It seems like when they look at his resume, it's like, yeah, he done enough. He deserved a Pacquiao fight. How? Man, I'm gonna stop this last fight. Why Pacquiao ain't pick Brian Norman Jr.? If I'm Manny Pacquiao and I'm like, man, this is my last fight, why you ain't fighting Brian Norman Jr.? That would have made a lot of sense. Actually, if y'all think about it, would have made a lot of sense. Doesn't have that much experience. Manny Pacquiao could easily get a belt at 147 if he's able to get that win. Most people would believe that he probably would get the win. Why you don't take that fight? Why would you go with Barrios? Pacquiao just keep doing it, don't he? He just keep doing it. He just keep doing it. You got your chance. You had your chance at Pacquiao's done it a couple times too. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Cause Pacquiao ain't tried. I ain't seen him try to make no effort to fight no Devin Haney. I ain't seen him try to make no effort to fight Brian Norman, Jaron Ennis, Terrence Crawford. Pacquiao just keep doing it. He just keep doing it. They know what time it is. They definitely know. I'm telling y'all right now, Brian Norman Jr., in the position he is right now, he gonna expose a lot of fighters. I'm telling y'all that. Not because we want to see guys get exposed. I'm just telling y'all, if we think somebody is the guy and he's close to their direction or they're within arm's reach, he's gonna expose them. He's gonna expose them. So any guys that's at 140, think about moving up to 47 soon, you got to deal with that. Anybody. Richardson Hitchens. That was a good knockout by Kambosos. But I remember what everybody was saying last year about Hitchens. Oh man, he looked bad against Lemos. He lost to Lemos. I remember what everybody said last year. That's why I wasn't jumping around up and down like that. Y'all, people must have forgot. I was the one that was telling everybody Hitchens was that deal after he beat Lemos. Oh man, he trashed, man. He trashed. Because he didn't get a stoppage. Keyshawn got a stoppage against Lemos. He didn't get one. Y'all remember that? That ain't how boxing work, bro. That ain't how boxing work. Definitely not how boxing work. It will never work like that. That triangle theory everybody using. It be people that's in the sport using it. Like, bro, what? How does that work? Oh, this guy beat this guy, so he gonna beat this guy. That never works. Never. That never happens. No, everybody's not the same. Like Usyk said, man, my toughest fight was Chisora. Not these guys that everybody's saying that was gonna be my toughest fight. That was my toughest fight. Most people would say it was Dubois, with that because of that low blow situation. But they better cherish Brian Norman Jr., man, as far as a boxer. Because he's gonna start replacing a lot of guys. Easily. The fact that his name is right there with Haney's right now, people are like, yeah, we need to see him versus Haney. That let me know everything I need to know. Everybody else is irrelevant. Everybody else is irrelevant. It wasn't even no reason to have Ryan's name in the conversation. They didn't need to see that rematch as bad as they thought or as bad as they said. I didn't hear Ryan's name lined up with Brian Norman. Brian Norman called out Ryan. Did everybody know that? Brian Norman was the only 47 I heard last year. Him and Jerron Ennis. I think it was Jerron Ennis. No, Brian Norman said he would have fought him though. The man had a 147 belt and said, I'll fight Ryan. And I'll fight Haney in the future. And Haney said, I'll fight Brian Norman and I'll fight Jerron Ennis. So I already know who really want to fight. It's no secret. It's definitely no secret. And we talking about without a promoter too. Dudes out here without promoters putting fights together. We talking about people who putting fights together with or without promoters. I know they need a promoter, but these guys putting together fights without the promoters though. Like getting in contact with these people, like, hey man, I want to fight. Ain't nobody sit up here and paid attention when Brian Norman Sr. was telling everybody, hey, I'm getting in contact with Bozy about this fight. We trying to see what's going on. Telling the fans, hey, we got this going on, this. Oh, man, you bluffing. How the guy that's telling you everything that's going, then to come to find out, they are negotiations. Oh, it was a deal sent over. That's crazy, bro. And what's crazy, I know, and it's just human nature. The person that gives you the information, that put the knowledge into you, sometimes, the teacher, the samurai, the sensei, he's always the one who gets, he the one they come after first. They always gonna come after the chief. They always do that. That's what happened. They always gonna come after the guy who's always first. Brian Norman was the first one to go at Boots like that. He had to take all the shots, but then Teofimo come right behind him, shooting air balls, and everybody like, My thing is, if Teofimo is a bigger fighter and has a history of ducking big fights, man, I mean, come on now, let's be real. Why does Brian Norman have more pressure on him to fight Jerron Ennis than Teo did? And Teo's a bigger name. And had Turkey involved. The guy with the bigger name should have bigger responsibility, right? He can make the fight easier. But we got guys that was like prospects, probably like 12 to 18 months before they won a belt. Matter of fact, when they won a belt, they was probably a prospect. But he's getting all kind of pressure put on him to make a fight. And I'm cool with that. I'm just saying, one guy, the new guy, what about the old guys? What about the mid-level guys? What about the guys who going into their prime? What about the guys who's going to be 30 or almost 30 that haven't fought a champion or even try to go for undisputed, fought in multiple weight classes? None of that. So I'm just telling y'all right now, enjoy where y'all at right now, because this guy, Brian Norman, he's gonna be the topic of conversation. This man has been the topic of conversation in boxing. One of the biggest names, top 5 biggest names talked about in the last 9 to 10 months. Just because he's going in there fighting. Fighters got to remember, bro, if you're not fighting, nobody's going to talk about you. There's nothing to talk about with some of these guys who not fighting. They're talking about Hitchens right now because he active. They talking about Teofimo right now because he's jumping in the ring with Hitchens. See what Brian Norman doing? Boom. That's the way boxing's supposed to go. It ain't nothing new. It ain't hard. Ain't nobody think a big fight between Brian Norman Jr. and Jaron Ennis would have been big a year ago at this time. As soon as he said, hey, I want that fight. Not everybody, what everybody said after that. That's why I said, man, you don't have to build up certain fights. Just make it happen. People say, oh, man, that's the fight I need to see. I need to see that fight. Now everybody says they need to see Brian Norman versus Boots Ennis because, the thought went across their mind and it was real energy behind that. There wasn't no fake energy behind it. That's why a lot of people don't really have any kind of attachment to the Boots Ennis and Teofimo fight. It was good for some promotion and marketing. It sounded good. A lot of these fights that never happen sound good, but it's always the same guys looking for smoke. No matter who somebody like, whether people gonna like Brian Norman or not, he always gonna look for smoke. If he calls somebody out, he want to fight him. Ain't no guys in a young age right now. They first, what is it? Second title defense going to Japan. You the champion and you going into Japan to defend your title at a young age like you are. That should be commended. That's what boxing is about. A lot of these Canelo just fought in another country for the first time. Well, he's fought in America, but on another continent for the first time. Let me say that. His first time fighting another continent was recently. And Canelo's like 34. So you got Brian Norman Jr. doing stuff that Canelo just did. And he's 10 years younger than Canelo. So when people wanted me to just disrespect Brian Norman Jr. last year because of some negotiations, you had a 23-year-old negotiating with a guy who was considered the best fighter on earth, better than Terrence Crawford, without the resume reflecting it yet. Even though I do think Jaron Ennis is that guy. I've always been a huge fan of Jaron Ennis. And Hitchens. Actually seen them at the same time for the first time. But I'm gonna tell y'all right now, ain't no fighters in boxing right now too big to be called out. None of them. Not one. If Canelo's not too big, nobody else is. They're not walking around with resumes like that. And they're not fighting enough either. Everybody, 2 things I said last year that could fix everything that's going on. People said, oh, guys is coming in overweight, weight bullying. They need to fight in their original weight class. Had them fight 3 or 4 times a year. See, people think weighing in is just simple and easy and it's automatic until somebody don't weigh in on weight. Then it's a huge problem. Then everything is crazy. But we seen when Munguia ran into a situation where he had to fight 4 times last year, what happened? And then you see guys can't make weight. Keyshawn just fought February. Then fought this month and couldn't make weight. If you do that 2 more times this year, what's that? 4 times a year, right? That's how you fix it. You ain't gotta chase guys around to figure out what they walk around weight is and all that. It's not that serious. Drug tests, fight frequently, keep them active. Everything ain't gotta be a home run fight. Everything ain't gotta be pay-per-view. I think that's where boxing is getting greedy at. Everything ain't gotta be pay-per-view. If you go look at Roy Jones fights, everything wasn't a pay-per-view fight. I think they fell in love with the Tyson model, and then they seen how Floyd's See, and one thing I noticed too, they talk about the Floyd era and how it destroyed boxing, but they're keeping all that stuff going. They even forcing that. They're even copying things Floyd is doing while he's retired. Floyd, as an old man, was doing exhibitions, boxing 50 years, doing the exhibitions in the middle of guys' careers. They was finna let Canelo do an exhibition in the middle of his career. They let Tyson Fury do an exhibition in the middle of his career. I lost my mind last year. Bro, y'all finna let Tyson Fury do an exhibition in the middle of his career? And the sad part about it is that probably might have been the last time he was in his prime. That's the excuse I'm gonna give him. The little excuse. It ain't as worse as the excuses I haven't heard. Oh, he hasn't worked out. He probably was at the end of his prime, that Ngannou fight, and gave it away. Trying to chase a bag. Being greedy. Sit up here and made almost $200 million with Usyk. But you just need to go chase the Ngannou fight. For what? Just to block out Wilder from setting up a fight with Ngannou? It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It really is. They do a lot of blocking, bro. They do a lot of blocking. One thing that don't get talked about, a lot of these people always go around and steal somebody's opponent. I've seen that so many times recently. They always go around people and get an opponent from them. I've seen that plenty of times. But yeah, man, it's just with the way boxing is going right now, it's definitely in a good spot. But the young guys got to flourish though. If they don't succeed in boxing, it won't be able to go back up. Because I seen right now, everybody else mission right now is to figure out who Devin Haney fight. If you think Devin Haney needs you to set up a fight for him, you covering the wrong sport. If you think Brian Norman needs you to run around and figure out a fight for him, you're covering the wrong sport. They asking the guys who are out here looking for free smoke. The guys are getting their biggest payday fighting Devin Haney. Ryan Garcia with no belt made $40 million. So if Ryan Garcia made $40 million with no belt fighting Devin Haney, how much does Brian Norman deserve? Because he's a champion. He's actually did something as far as becoming a champion. So how much did he deserve? Oh, he only deserved 1.5 while Ryan getting 40 million. But then you got guys like Shane Mosley talking about these fighters getting overpaid. They ain't trying to fight nobody. Well, you gotta starve somebody out for them to fight good? Nah, that don't make no sense. I don't understand what he's talking about. Because Brian Norman Jr., he's been fighting tough, whether he's getting paid higher or lower, whatever it is. So I don't understand what he's talking about in that situation as far as guys getting overpaid. The only person I've seen that's got overpaid and has not finished the job, that's about it as far as recently. To get paid that much, I don't know anybody else. Well, Fury, you can throw Fury in there as well. Absolutely throw Tyson Fury in there. He got paid a boatload of money. Tyson Fury as well. So those are two guys that got overpaid and they ran the whole fight. Made $40 million a run. But they talking about Devin Haney name though. And Tyson Fury is worse because that Usyk Bivol fight would have been done already. If Tyson Fury wouldn't have got hurt, Dave Benavidez will be fighting he'll be fighting Bivol or Beterbiev right now. If Tyson Fury wouldn't have got hurt and pushed back all that Riyadh stuff that was supposed to happen last February, then it ended up happening in May, and then Beterbiev was supposed to fight in June, and then because of that situation got pushed back, then he ended up getting hurt, and then had to fight in October. And then Tyson Fury didn't fight Usyk again until December. So it's a lot of waiting going on. You know what I'm saying? The guys who want to fight, they got to wait around for these old guys to get their last payday. because they know what time it is. It's over. The kitchen getting hot and everybody jumping out of there. Everybody going to their correct weight class. Dudes know what time it is, bro. They know what time it is. And it's the people they don't think that it was gonna happen to. They thought a lot of these other guys was gonna jump out of weight classes and be, afraid to move up. A lot of the guys y'all think are afraid to move up aren't really afraid to move up. It's the guys that you don't think that's afraid to move up that's actually afraid to move up. I'm sure of that. I'm telling you. Because I was looking at the example recently. A lot of guys back in the day, when they have situations like guys complaining about Floyd fighting style, like I was talking about earlier with Mosley. Bro, you didn't see Mosley trying to get in a ring with no Maidana or none of those guys around that time. Everybody swore that he hurt Floyd, but he wasn't trying to get in the ring with those guys around that time. He knew it was over. He knew it was over. So a lot of these guys now, they getting out of their weight class, they moving on. They know what time it is. You better be at the right weight class, because if you don't, and you're drained at one of these weight classes, and one of these young guys come up to that weight class, and he's at full strength, you will get embarrassed. Did y'all hear everybody recently? Man, what if Jerron don't need to be drained against Teofimo Lopez fighting him? That wouldn't even make a lot of sense. You heard when they said that. You heard what they said. And you always can do a catch weight at certain points. We've seen Canelo do catch weights too. That wasn't a conversation. What about catch weights? Has anybody discussed a catch weight with Brian Norman? I mean, I wouldn't do it because as a champion, doing all that to try to make a fight, nah. You got guys who don't have a belt who's not going out of their way to make a fight. So I don't think champions should really, really go out of their way to make a fight, because we've seen guys go out of their way to make a fight recently, and they got laughed at about it. And reputation got destroyed. Sport of boxing became better, but reputation got destroyed behind it. So I'm not all in on just people taking any kind of fight under any circumstances, not like I used to be. Because De Los Santos ain't do it, and everybody understood why. Everybody understood why. That was the scariest thing you can look at right now. But yeah, man, a lot of pump faking going on, especially around Brian Norman Jr. They trying to put Devin Haney in front of him. Whatever works for y'all, but that's gonna happen regardless. And even if they go get in the ring and one of those guys beat each other, still gonna have to fight him at the end of the day. Brian Norman's a younger guy, so he'll still get better, win or lose. That's gonna be more dangerous for everybody else to try to put Brian Norman in the ring with Haney at this age. That's something y'all don't want to do, to be honest with you. You said Norman said he would go to 140 for T.O. Yeah, T.O. don't want that fight though. T.O. don't want that fight. That's why Top Rank tried to set that fight up last year as an in-house fight, but T.O. don't want that fight. I'm telling you, man, T.O. got a timeline on him. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just waiting on T.O. to fight an elite black fighter, and that'll be it. But until then, he's doing what he's supposed to do. Buying time. He hasn't fought in a year. Has a lot of people believing in him. There's a lot of fighters who's fighting right now that people don't believe in. And, I feel sorry for those guys. Stephen Fulton, who's put on some very magnificent fights since he fought Inoue. He got dropped, came back, beat the guy, and then his last fight beat up Figueroa, dominated after being the underdog in that fight by most fans. So yeah, I don't think T.O.'s in a position to call any shots. You can't turn down the fights. That's why, to be honest with you, if he continues to be a big name in sports, and I'm not, this ain't no hating, I'm being real. If he continues to be a big name or a topic of discussion, he ain't even fighting. He ain't even fighting. Him and Ryan Garcia basically gonna take off a whole year, and he ain't even fighting nobody. These guys taking off a whole year while Turkey Al-Sheikh is starting to step up and say, "Hey man, any kind of money, any kind of fight y'all need, let's go." Now guys is getting hurt. Shakur Stevenson fighting with broken hands and everything else. Tank fought with a broken hand, but Ryan can't do it. He ain't that guy, bro. I'm telling y'all, it's not that guy. Tank fought Isaac Cruz with a broken hand. Shakur fought De Los Santos with a broken hand. People said he running. Can Ryan Garcia get in the ring with a broken hand against De Los Santos and run and win the fight? I highly doubt it. Because if he did, he would have did it against Rolly, right? Oh yeah, he was injured. So what? Everybody, a lot of guys win with injured hands. Just name two of them. Ryan should be fighting Brian Norman Jr. right now. Ryan said he got 6 weeks until he heal up, right? That'll be enough time to where he fights Brian Norman Jr. He just had a fight at 147. He literally just had a fight at 147. If he wants to prove himself to the boxing world, the best way he can do it is fighting a guy like Brian Norman Jr. Wouldn't that be a good idea? Let me explain to you why that would be a good idea. If you know that guys like Haney and Brian Norman Jr. are willing to fight anybody, and they're basically coming to each other's weight class, not Haney hasn't fully arrived, but he's there. With so many options around, we know that fight's easy to make. What about these other guys that's running around? Let's smoke them out first and then figure out if these are the only two guys left. That's kind of what I want to see. We kind of did that with Boots. After Brian Norman Jr. said something to Boots, they started naming a whole bunch of opponents. You got Stanley Ona showing up, Teofimo throwing his name out there, all kind of people. You had Conwell that was trying to fight him at 54. A lot of names was popping up. I had made a picture of it. It was a lot of names that popped up for Ennis. But with T.O., he got more names, and he ain't taking them. So, yeah, I would if T.O. was to fight Brian Norman Jr., I got Brian Norman Jr. by stoppage, straight up. Not even close. Straight up stoppage. Centillion 2.0. Because I don't know if people know it, Centillion is not a bum. That guy who Norman dropped on his picture, he's not a bum. And you ain't finna see none of these guys like Ryan them calling this guy out. Because that Mexican fighter is not a bum. Anybody else would have beat this guy, they would have been acting like this was the greatest win ever. But when Centillion stopped Rocha, that was one of the most devastating stoppages of 2023? But all I hear people saying is, man, Norman got caught by Boca Chica. Okay. So what? And Boca Chica got 5 straight losses. No contest against Norman. But 4 or 5 straight losses. Lost to Roman Villa, who just got stopped by I don't want to call him a journeyman because the Mexican fighter only had like 2 losses. But he lost to an unknown Mexican fighter. Then he lost to Alberto Palmetta on Pro Box, which is what a lot of people feel like. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these fights are they just lost to Tiger Johnson. Yeah, but Boca Chica feel like, yeah, man, I caught him and had him power. That's cool. You know, he did match up well, but Nah, I don't think so, man. Definitely don't think so. Yeah, Norman's putting together a decent resume right now. Very decent. With the names he's putting together right now, then he's giving guys their first, second loss. When he fought Randall, he was undefeated when he fought Randall. Gave Quentin Randall his first loss. An Olympian. He fought when he was 23. Boca Chica. That was a no contest. Centillion comes out, stops him, 32-0. Centillion's 32-0. Basically a career welterweight at a certain point. And went out there and stopped him. And you got to think about it too. Frederick Lawson got stopped in the first round by Centillion. Right? Frederick Lawson got stopped in the first round by Centillion. And the only other person that stopped Frederick Lawson, even in the first 3 rounds, is Virgil Ortiz, and he did it in the first round. So Centillion and Virgil Ortiz stopped Frederick Lawson in the first round. And Centillion's knockout stoppage was a little worse than what Ortiz did. So they can sleep on the resume if they want to, but it's a lot of guys that Norman beat that people aren't going to try to step up to. Y'all got to think about it. Why nobody is asking to fight Giovanni Centillion right now? Man's 33 years old. He's 34-1. The only loss he has is to Brian Norman Jr. He stopped Frederick Lawson in the first round in December of 2024. Last December, he stopped him in the first round. He stopped Alexis Rocha in the 6th round. The same Alexis Rocha that went out there and stopped Blair Cobbs in the 9th round. Like, come on now. And he also beat Frederick Lawson. He beat Frederick Lawson in the 7th round though. But he had a draw against Raul Correa, who's undefeated Mexican fighter. So yeah, it's a lot of movement going on behind the scenes, but don't let these people fool you. Brian Norman Jr. is a threat, bro. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm almost guarantee that Oscar ain't gonna put Ryan Garcia in the ring with Centillion. And matter of fact, I already know who Ryan Garcia looking to fight next. Whether people believe it or not. Matter of fact, because they probably ain't gonna believe it, I ain't even gonna say it. I'll let them find out. But I already know who Ryan Garcia gonna fight next. If you heard me say it already, then you got it. But I just found this out recently, so. But it ain't gonna be Centillion, and it's gonna be probably somebody on Golden Boy. It's gonna be a bad look. If I was Ryan Garcia, I would definitely come back against the Centillion. Knock him out faster than what Brian Norman did. Does anybody believe Ryan can do that? Let's see. Because last year everybody was talking like he was that guy. Oh, he'll knock out Norman. He'll knock out everybody at 40 and some guys at 47. He'll knock out Boots. If he can knock out Boots, put him in the ring with Brian Norman Jr. That's all I want to see. Because I'm gonna be honest with y'all. It's gonna be one day that Ryan Garcia and Teofimo Lopez are going to be saying fighters' names, and guys ain't gonna be paying attention to it. And that one day is gonna be next year. Next year, Ryan Garcia and them gonna be saying guys' names, and they ain't gonna pay attention to it. None of them. They're not gonna double back for these guys. And to be honest with you, if you say it right now, if Jerron Ennis would have said last week, "Hey man, I'm negotiating to fight with Ryan Garcia right now," man, these fans would have been crying. Oh man, I don't want to see that. Ryan Garcia just lost. But they was begging Devin Haney to fight Sandor Martin. I seen people literally looking for a fight for Haney last year. He need to fight Sandor Martin. That's a good fight. Sandro Martin, he possibly beat Teofimo Lopez. Oh, now people want to tell the truth. Now, when Devin Haney is up for a mandatory with Sandro Martin, now you want to admit that Sandro Martin was whooping on your boy. Now you want to tell the truth. We front running like that, and fronting, really fronting, and that's what they really doing. They really fronting out here. The fronting is ridiculous. But have y'all seen the Ring Magazine pound for pound list? That's why I have Kenshiro Taraji up here. Did y'all see the latest pound for pound list for Ring Magazine? These dudes got Inoue over Terrence Crawford. They have Inoue over Terrence Crawford. They have Bam over Canelo. They have Nakatani over Canelo. They got 3 Japanese fighters on the pound for pound. It's only 10 spots. Matter of fact, I'll go a step further. They got 3 Mexicans and 3 Japanese fighters on the pound for pound. Is that who running boxing right now? I'm just asking. Currently are Mexicans and Japanese fighters running boxing to the point where we need 6 of those guys on the top 10 pound for pound. We still got the UK. You still got Canada. You still got the South America with Argentina and Venezuela and all those guys. Still got Africa. You still got the whole Asia with the Philippines. Where you got guys like Masao and Pacquiao and everybody else. All around. You got Russia. We still haven't went through Russia. You still got Ukraine. All kind of places. Out of all those countries, you got 2 countries with 6 guys? What? Nah, that ain't it right there. And then I actually know boxing, especially smaller weights. So y'all got Kenshiro Taraji on there. Taraji got a worse loss than what Stephen Fulton got. And he just lost 4 years ago. Like less than 3 years ago. Less than 4 years ago. 3 years ago. Taraji just lost 3 years ago by like stoppage or something like that. By an unknown. Fulton gets stopped by a guy who's number 2 on pound for pound. And he ain't even on the list. And then anyway, just got his face knocked off the last fight. And he's number 2? Man, please, man. This is why your boy do not invest in the pound for pound. If you look at the old pound for pound list, they trash. And this was going right in the trash with them. They trying to save face by putting Benavidez on there. Nah, y'all ain't finna save face like that. You ain't finna save face by putting Benavidez on there. You ain't finna save face. It is what it is. It sound good, but I don't believe in the what they trying to push. I don't believe what they trying to push. I ain't doing it. They making it way too easy for this pound for pound. So I'm gonna ask y'all a real question real quick. So do people think now we see what and it's sad I even gotta ask this question. When is what Dimitri Bivol has done gonna be enough? Because people say he's an amazing fighter, and people lost their mind about him losing the Beterbiev for the first time. But man, like for a real conversation right here, like is what Inoue's done better than what Bivol has done in his career, or even a Beterbiev? I'm being real, bro. I'm being real. Let me know. If Bivol and Beterbiev get their face knocked off and dropped multiple times by a left hook by the same Mexican fighters, are they gonna be number 2 on pound for pound? So y'all telling me if Benavidez get dropped by a left hook twice in 2024 and 2025, he gonna be number 2 pound for pound. Yeah, that pound for pound people don't even talk about pound for pound no more. They don't even do it. They said the Rings rating policy, uh, the results. This is the most objective performance and the track record. Performance. So y'all rating the performance. So they think what? So let me ask everybody a question real quick. What was a better performance, Terrence Crawford versus Earl Spence, or Inoue versus Stephen Fulton? It's not even close. But yeah, man, it's crazy out here what they doing, bro. I'll be honest with you. Having Kenshiro Taraji over Stephen Fulton on pound for pound list is disgusting. It's disgusting, and whoever did it is just it's hurting boxing and rewriting history. And you're terrible. And I'm a huge fan of Kenshiro Taraji. That's what everybody don't know. So to put him on there, you're out your mind. The man is 33 years old, around the same age as Stephen Fulton. He's fighting at 112. Okay? So let me put that in perspective for everybody. This man ain't went up 10 pounds yet. And he on a pound for pound for doing what? At 33 years old. Man, y'all don't take that boy off and put Devin Haney on there, man. Y'all better get out of here with that stuff. Because I ain't even going to rag on these guys. I'm going to just start ignoring them. It's okay to give guys acknowledgement, but it's only 10 spots on here, man. It's only 10 spots. I heard everybody bragging about how great of a fighter Shane Mosley. Shane Mosley used to be so exciting when he was fighting. Okay, well, y'all didn't put him on pound for pound like y'all doing this guy. Y'all telling me Kenshiro Taraji is a better fighter than a Shane Mosley? Stop it. Please stop that. And you got Benavidez number 10? Man. That's crazy. This dude talking about going up to fight Zerto at cruiserweight. And this man can't get top 5 pound for pound. Boy. You can tell who people like sometimes, can't you? That's just not. We're going to give Benavidez credit, but not more credit than the other guy. Even though he's done more in the last 2 years than the other guy. We got to be careful with that. We don't want to sit around here and damage somebody else's legacy while they're still active. Canelo could have been looking for that David Benavidez smoke. If Canelo would have lost to Benavidez instead of Bivol, Benavidez instead of Bivol, even by stoppage, I won't care. I wouldn't care. I would not care. But the fact that he cares so much and think that other people care. Oh, okay. All right, I'm good now. I like fighters who don't care about what anybody thinks about what they're doing. And that's Brian Norman Jr. That's why when everybody was sitting around just talking about him last year in that any situation, I'm like, y'all don't understand it, but this guy, he's not even getting started yet. He's younger than everybody, and he hasn't even done much. All he did was say, yeah, I'll fight him. And we sparred before. So this man he's sparring people 4 or 5 years older than him in their prime. And he's scared? He's not scared. I tell you one thing, you give him $40 million like they gave Ryan Garcia and $20 million like they gave Ryan Garcia, he'll be fighting Haney. Him and the Haney fight would have already happened, and the Ennis fight would have already happened. But boxing cares so much about making sure Ryan Garcia is straight that the guys who everybody talking about and want to fight the most, they don't even want to pay that guy. It's crazy, bro. Like in boxing, I think everybody's still a diehard fan, but way too many people caring about how much. Way too much. Dang, can't hit the like button. I can't get no likes in here. Only got 3 likes in here. Come on, man, hit the like button for your boy. Only got 3 likes up in here. Oh, they got the numbers all over the place. Oh, they showing. See, they showing this. Bro, YouTube be tripping. The matter of fact, don't even worry about the like, bro. Y'all might hit it. It still won't lock in. They showing that there's 7 people right here, but then on the other page it's 3. These folk be tripping. So if y'all get kicked out of this live, bro, I didn't do it. They be kicking people out all the time, but you know, I don't know what they think that's gonna do for me because I don't be knowing who get kicked out or what. That's gonna be more of the people who tune in to the channel. I ain't kicking them out, so if they putting people out of here, then that's crazy. But yeah, that's definitely going in. And then also people was talking about the Shakur Stevenson thing recently, with Andy Cruz. I was talking about that a couple of days ago. That Andy Cruz is literally like 2 fights away from fighting Shakur Stevenson. He fight Miritai, he can go right into Shakur Stevenson fight. A lot of these dudes don't want to fight Shakur Stevenson, bro. I'm telling y'all right now, Shakur smokes Andy Cruz. And I'm not saying that because he American. I'm saying that because he smokes him. He smokes Andy Cruz. If it ain't names like Haney or Tank, y'all better get a hold of those guys because he's going to smoke Andy Cruz. For sure, for sure. And I think Andy Cruz, he definitely the marketing as far as Keyshawn and everything else, that's working because, he has a storyline he can go with. So I think they sticking with that because it works. But from what I see, I don't think he want no smoke with Shakur Stevenson. Because I said that last year. I put out videos last year around this time where I was like, why everybody focus on Keyshawn when Andy Cruz could fight these other guys at 135? And I think Keyshawn doing what he did put more pressure on Shakur Stevenson. Because you remember Shakur was talking about, and people got to remember what they say too, bro. Shakur Stevenson was saying, I'm going to stay at 135 regardless. I can go to 140 or whatever and fight, but I'm not going to leave until I get the job done. And Shakur was like, and Keyshawn was like, man, I'm making 135 so easy. I think he said like the Lemos fight. And then y'all remember the last, with the Baranchik fight, he had all that stuff going on. He still made weight. So for all that stuff to kind of happen, it's just not a good look. Then you leaving Shakur with a lot of these fights that people want to see you have. He's going to get a lot of the credit. All the credit, to be honest with you. So now I'm just thinking, man, whoever, if they want to put out credit to certain people, yeah, they should do it, but just make sure it's to the right people. Make sure it's definitely to the right people. But yeah, man, it's crazy what goes on in boxing, but that's the sport we in right now. That is the sport we are in. But I'm glad Brian Norman Jr. is around, bro. He finna expose a lot of this faking, bro. All that everybody ducking stuff, bro, I get tired of hearing that, man. There's too many people in boxing to be hearing all that. But I see now, people are openly admitting they believe Brian Norman and Haney want to smoke. Those the only two people they asking to fight now. Because you know Hitchens can go up and fight Brian Norman too. You know, that could happen too. There's a lot of people that can move up and fight him. If they feel like they're too big for 140. But yeah, I want to see some boxers actually call out a champion though. I feel like they kind of used Jaron Ennis' name to clout chase. And when they had a fighter who was younger and ready to make weight multiple times, it's just not too much noise around it. That's why I said with T.O., bro, he been getting away with a lot of things, man. And he's becoming more outside the ring at this point. Should have got the job done, bro. I keep forgetting he fought Barbosa too, bro. I keep forgetting that. I ain't watch it live, so I keep forgetting that he fought Barbosa. I keep saying the year. He ain't fought in the year. Fought Barbosa recently. But yeah, man, they let a lot of fighters get away with that smoke though. A lot of them. I'm like, bro, just crowning dudes before they even do anything. And I hate to say that, but I'm being real. A lot of these dudes getting crowned before they even do anything. One or two names, and people calling Kambosos a one-hit wonders. A lot of these dudes ain't got one good win like Kambosos. They ain't got no Teofimos on their resume. And getting talked about like they really that. So it got to be a popularity contest because dudes ain't got that on their resume. So we got to blame somebody. It's just hard for me to get on the internet and say, it's just hard for me to get on here and say why people are ducking Teofimo when he lost to Kambosos. I just can't do that, bro. I would definitely sound like a fanboy I did that. And you turned out the biggest fights in boxing, and you on the same platform as Brian Norman Jr., bro. Make the fight, man. You had Teofimo. I mean, you had Keyshawn press you last year, ask you for the fight. I'm just saying, how many dudes that's gonna press this guy? How many negotiations he gonna be in for? It's like, bro. Because at this point, I'm being real, man. These dudes ain't fighting no black fighters. I ain't paying attention. None of them. Hill or Ryan. They want the attention. They got it. If them dudes don't fight no black fighters in the future, their next fight, I ain't watching it. Cause we just seen what Rolly did. If they ain't fighting no black fighters soon, I ain't watching it. They been getting by way too much fighting on Kambosos and all these other fighters. Them guys need to fight some black fighters soon. For them not to have those guys in their resume, that's why everybody running around. Yeah, they're in negotiations. Well, this guy, it ain't no reason why TFMO shouldn't fight Brian Norman Jr. right now, or even Devin Haney. So he just bluffing, man. To be honest with you, a lot of people bluffing. They bluffing. They being careful too. They being careful too. See what's gonna really happen is I'm gonna tell you what's really gonna happen, and I'm being serious about this. What's really gonna happen is one of these guys gonna end up going out there trying to be Superman in their next fight. And they're gonna end up getting stopped. Trying to think about the fans and no running rule and everything. One of these guys gonna go out there and end up getting stopped. Trying to impress the fans and try to live up to this no running rule thing, knowing they ain't got no chin. So I would definitely love for some of these boxers who haven't been tested the way I want to see them tested, get in the ring and test that chin. With the no winning rule, no running rule, because People might not know it or not. A lot of these guys ain't got no chin like that. I know we're gonna have to have a conversation sooner or later, but man, Ryan Garcia get dropped again like he been doing. Cause this dude, every time he gets dropped, he flies across the ring. Like he on a slip and slide. He keep getting dropped like that, he might have to hang it up. He on some Amir Khan stuff right now. And Amir Khan's hands was way fast. People said, Ryan got some fast hands. I ain't seen them fast hands against Rolly. He out here getting dropped like Amir Khan. So trust me, when I say they don't want to put pressure on these guys like that, they know that by now. You put pressure on one of these guys, it's going to be the end of their career. Especially with Brian Norman Jr. Brian Norman Jr. destroying people right now. The fact that people don't even want to jump out and fight his the guy he beat to get the belt, that lets you know everything you need to know. Everybody lining up to fight Kambosos, though. They lining up to fight Kambosos, but they ain't lining up to fight Santillan. Let's see if Santillan is cooked, if he should retire. Because he is older. And he's with Oscar. Man, y'all need to go ahead and make that fight. That's what I would like to see. Because in the sport of boxing, that's why when I looked at the Lomachenko situation, after Haney fought Loma, I was done giving out credit because if anybody beats Lomachenko or even have a performance like that, walk down Lomachenko, you should definitely get credit for that. But they made it seem like Haney's performance against Loma was so bad that he just can't get no credit for it, and it was just so bad and the worst thing ever. And Loma ain't even trying to fight no more. So you see what type of guys when they meet some adversity, or we just seen guys get cheated and jump right up and jump back in the ring. I'm talking about literally get cheated, robbed. Plenty of guys get robbed. Shaqy Foster got robbed. Plenty of people got robbed. But for some reason, that Haney and Lomachenko fight, people just can't let it go. Can't let it go. Never asked Lomachenko to rematch Teofimo, so I don't think these guys is really invested in that Lomachenko situation like that. That's why it was good for him to hang it up. That's why it was good for him to hang it up, because you got a guy like Norman that's going to fight over and over and over. You ain't got to wait till he's 28, 29, or 30. None of that. You ain't got to wait till he's 27 years old, pro, debuting. These dudes 27, 28, debuting as a pro. And you got a 23-year-old, 24-year-old out here calling out the best champions getting the belt. That needs to be commended. But I don't know why, bro. For some reason, I just can't roll with it. For that to be a negative in boxing, guys who got belts trying to fight everybody that's above their level or their age group and willing to make those fights, and you're going across the street, that needs to be commended. But for some reason, that's a negative these days. And the guys who sit in the same spot and say, those guys, they get pats on the back. So if you see me doing the opposite of what somebody else is doing, yeah, it's like that. Yeah, it's like that. I'm the guy who thought PEDs matter. So, it's going to be like that, man. I don't know how many years it's going to be like that, but it's going to be like that for a while. I just got to accept that. I'm going to be different. Because I see the writing on the wall right now. I showed everybody. People don't think that they got America in the spot where they want to force their way into look at that pound for pound list. 3 Japanese fighters. So you telling me Japanese fighters got more elite fighters in Japan than they do in America? I told people what that pound was for. He said he could sleep at night because Boots moving up. I don't know why. I don't know why everybody talking like, and I ain't being funny when I say I don't know why everybody be talking like Boots stop. I don't know why everybody be talking like Boots stop caring to somebody. Now this is the crazy part about boxing right here. People will see Terrence Crawford go out there and stop Earl Spence. He ain't good enough. But you go 12 rounds with Karen twice. Now you the boogeyman to Brian Norman. No, sir. That's a narrative. That's a narrative. You can't have a 23-year-old try to have a fight with a elite fighter, but other guys in the division not try to have a fight. That's not the way boxing goes. But yeah, man, I appreciate everybody for coming through. Listening to the chat. Dang, only got 3 likes. Damn. Only 3 likes. Damn. That's crazy. Your boy only got 3 likes. Damn. Damn, they doing your boy bad. Yeah, but I don't know, man. To be honest with you. What was? Yeah, this. These people tripping, bro. I'm telling y'all, bro. Please, hey, donate to the channel, man. Support the channel. Support the real. That's all I'm gonna say. Cause I'm gonna be me regardless, but these little programs, these little YouTube platforms, everything, they want me to fold and um go along with their little reindeer games. I'm not finna do it though. I'm definitely not finna do it. Definitely not finna do it. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate everybody for coming through though. I'll let you guys later on.